right now.
A late-night argument ending in gunfire and the death of one man. Why the suspect says he fired the gun.
I've never seen any problems here. So I'm shocked to hear it.
Family devastated by the shooting death of a young man at an apartment complex. Why they hope someone will come forward with information soon. And this is your last day in Muertos Fest at Hemisphere Park. What you can look forward to for Dia de los Muertos. You're watching Good Morning San Antonio. All right, there it is. Sun's up. We are looking at a good Sunday morning, getting ready to start off the week here with Sarah's forecast on the weather coming up. Welcome to GMSA. Thanks for joining us here at 8 a.m. on your Sunday morning.
Hey, everyone. Good morning. Happy to have Devin here with us on the desk. You know, Sarah Costa's out. She's covering Muertos Fest, so going to be a great and warm day. I'm learning a lot about Devin this morning. I've learned that he loves dad jokes.
Yep. Yeah.
That his costume is going to be dad joke themed. I also learned that Devin, a graduate of Trinity, was a part of Trinity's a cappella group called the Trinitones.
Trinitones, yeah, like tritones,
okay,
you know, little play on the words there.
That's pretty awesome. Not only was he a member of that a cappella group, he was the beatboxing member.
It's no secret, I'm a drummer, and when I couldn't figure out how to drum when I was little, I started beatboxing, and that's kind of how we got here.
That's pretty impressive. I think the only way for us to start our Sunday before we go to weather is for Devin. Show off your talents a little bit.
So you kind of got to like get the snares, the bass drum, and the hi-hats in there, like a little bit of like.
That's pretty good. That's
it's about following the rhythm, just making sure it all sounds nice.
Did you have any did you do any tones or anything like that, or was it just all about the drums?
No, it's just kind of about the beat, you know. I mean, sometimes I would step in and sing, but no, it was just mostly making sure that everyone stayed on tempo, which if you're wrangling in a bunch of guy singers, that's kind of hard to do sometimes.
Well, we got to stay on tempo with the forecast, so let's go ahead.
What do we have in store, Sarah?
I'm really impressed, Devin. Let's go ahead and take a look outside. 65 degrees in San Antonio, 58 in Kerrville, 64 in New Braunfels, 64 at Eagle Pass, and 64 at Del Rio. It's very humid outside. I stepped outside, that humidity hits you like a wall. At least the humidity is going to come down a little bit this afternoon. But it is going to be a hot day. Around 1, we're going to be at 84, 90 for the high temperature today, 1 degree shy of a record. And then this evening is going to be mild, 82 at 9 o'clock. But looking at the next several days, even though we're still going to be warmer than average, our highs are going to come down by Halloween and into the weekend, highs in the low to mid 80s. Speaking of Halloween, that's when our rain chances go up too. More details about that and what your kiddos can expect while trick-or-treating this week coming up in just a bit. Devin.
Sarah, thanks. New this morning, a man is dead after a shooting on the Southside. San Antonio police say a couple of people were hanging out in the parking lot on 3115 Mission Road, that's near Roosevelt Avenue, when the victim was allegedly involved in a fight with another man. That's when police say the suspect pulled out a gun and shot and killed the victim. That suspect shooter did say he was on scene and was detained for further questioning. He's claiming he shot in self-defense. No other injuries were reported, and this is an ongoing investigation. We have an update this morning on a shooting we told you about yesterday morning. A 20-year-old man was killed after an accidental shooting in an apartment complex. And while the medical examiner's office has not yet released an official identity, his family have identified him as Isaiah Guevara. San Antonio police say they got a call of shots being fired around 4 a.m. The caller told police they heard gunshots and that several rounds went through their apartment walls. Now, according to SAPD, no one else was injured, but the department has no suspects so far.
We're not at peace right now because we don't know exactly what happened. But if y'all can just step up and use your voices, if you saw anything, if you heard anything, please call SAPD.
Isaiah's family says this is a first for the otherwise peaceful neighborhood. They remain hopeful that someone will come forward with answers that might lead to an arrest. And in Comal County, 2 teens are facing several charges, each accused in shootings on back-to-back days this week. This is Mason Alexander. He and an unidentified 14-year-old were arrested on Thursday. The sheriff says one of the shootings was a drive-by in Spring Branch that sent a man to the hospital. Now, both are charged with aggravated assault, discharging a firearm from a vehicle, as well as 3 counts each of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Night one of Muertos Fest saw thousands converge on Hemisphere Park downtown. More than 80 altars are scattered all over the park for families, loved ones, and strangers to pay their respects to friends, family members, and even pets who have passed. Now, I was actually out there yesterday morning, and let me tell you, it is a one-of-a-kind experience out there. You can just feel the passion and love in the air. If you missed last night's festivities, don't worry, you still have today to take in the beauty of the altars and remember our dearly departed loved ones. On the agenda today are more musical performances and an arts and crafts workshop for the kiddos. The music and events are going to get started at noon today, and if you can't go, don't worry, we've got you covered. We're going to air a special broadcast of the event next Wednesday on all of our KSAT platforms. Time now, 8:05, 65 degrees outside. It's looking like it's going to be a pretty good Sunday. And pretty soon, the Alamo City will play to host one of the biggest nights for ladies in television and film. SA Live's Jada Pickett will give us a first look at the Celestial Awards in just a bit. And your San Antonio Spurs celebrating a big win during their first home game of the season. We'll show you all the highlights from last night coming up next. There it is. That's the San Antonio we know and love. Look at that sun starting to make his way up over the roads. Hey, no matter what you're headed for Sunday, whether you're picking up a Halloween costume, going to vote, or just spending some time with the family, we've got you covered on what's coming up next on GMSA.
Originally called Mary's Gold, the Marigold is named after the Virgin Mary. But in Mexico, it's called cempasúchil, the flower of the dead. Placed on graves and used to decorate altars during the Day of the Dead, it's believed the flower's vibrant colors and strong scent can lure souls back to the living. Since they bloom in early summer and die at fall's first frost, they also symbolize the fragility of life. The name cempasúchil is Aztec and roughly translated to flower of many petals. For the Aztecs, the flower was sacred, and its bright color represented the sun. Native to the Americas, it was cultivated for decorative, magical, medicinal, and agricultural purposes. And they were thought to cure hiccups and were often planted near crops. As a matter of fact, the marigold produces a natural insecticide. Once Spanish explorers discovered the hardy plant, they took the seeds back to Europe. Now hundreds of varieties grow across the globe, including India, where the marigold has become an important ceremonial flower. For Hindus, the marigold symbolizes surrender to the divine.
Hey, last night, it was a good time to be a Spurs fan while they're taking out all their frustrations from their season opening loss to the Mavericks. Now, they did this with the Houston Rockets last night. First home game of the season, Wemby hoists up a shot from the logo. No doubt about that one. Later, Wemby goes into work in some of the paint and extends for just the jam. Unfair. The Alamo City's new alter ego is Lob City. Chris Paul connects with Wemby. Victor loving it over there. Spurs led at halftime. Malachi Branham now lobs it to Keldon Johnson. KJ taking it home right there. The rivalry game called for some crunch time, but the Spurs hold off Houston, winning 109-106. Wemby led the Spurs with 29 points. Jeremy Sohan finished with a double-double. The two rematch on Monday. We're going to have a post-game reaction later in the show. All right, now moving on from the court to the field. Game 2 of the World Series between the Dodgers and the Yankees taking shape on the heels of last night's Freddie Freeman walk-off grand slam, first of its kind. Freeman would homer again as the Dodgers hit 3 early long balls off of Carlos Rodon as the Los Angeles Angels defeated New York 4-2 to take a 2-0 World Series lead. The big story, though, was the superstar slugger Shohei Ohtani suffering a dislocated shoulder in the 7th inning on a stolen base attempt. No word yet if Ohtani can return to the World Series.
All right, who you got, Dodgers or Yankees?
I think I'm gonna go for the Dodgers. Yeah.
All right.
It hurts as an Astros fan to say, but I mean, I like them better than the Yankees.
I just am glad that both the Spurs won last night.
Yes.
And sorry about my Aggies won last night. They put in Marcel Reed in the second quarter, and he just dominated LSU.
It's so funny
Pretty
watching all this, not having a horse in the race with Trinity. I mean, I love that, but they're not really on the level of like UT, A&M. So seeing all the rivalries go on in the newsroom, it's kind of fun to just take a step back and enjoy the bickering.
I'll tell you what Trinity has over Texas A&M, a cappella group.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Let's go ahead and take a look out with temperatures. We have got 65 in San Antonio, 64 in New Braunfels, 61 in Castroville, 59 in Bernie, and 57 in Comfort. It is pretty humid this morning. You're going to notice that humidity immediately. There are some areas of clouds too, but we are going to be looking at a mostly sunny day in San Antonio. By noon, it'll be 81. In the afternoon, well into the 80s. Humidity is going to come down this afternoon a lot like yesterday, but it's still going to be warm. 90 for the high, and then a mild evening, still in the mid 80s by 8 o'clock. Speaking of that high temperature, 90 in San Antonio, but 91 in New Braunfels, 92 in Del Rio. Cotulla, you'll be at 93, 91 in Beeville, upper 80s in Kerrville, 90 in Hondo, and that forecast high of 90 degrees today is just 1 degree shy of a record set back in 1995. So 29-year-old record for the day. We're going to be a degree away from that record, so it is entirely possible for us to tie that, especially because we're starting with complete sunshine in San Antonio. But of course, we'll keep you posted. It's not just San Antonio that's warmer than average. A good portion of the nation is warmer than average. What I'm showing you here on your screen is that temperatures are going to be some 10 to 15 degrees warmer than average across the northern tier of the United States and even into Canada. And as we go ahead in the week, there's going to be a bit of a heat wave for areas like Minneapolis, Omaha, Nebraska, some 20 to 30 degrees warmer than average. And by Halloween, many of those places are going to be a lot warmer than average too, especially even across the Northeast toward New York. Here in San Antonio, we're going to be warmer than average as well, but there is going to be some colder air working its way across the nation on Thursday in the form of a cold front. That cold front, though, is just not likely to make it to San Antonio. It's likely to stall out. So when we look at Halloween high temperatures, it's still going to be warm in San Antonio, 84. Cooler than today, though, yes, but there is going to be some much cooler air to the north, and temperatures in Abilene and Dallas are going to be in the 70s on Halloween. It's going to feel great across North Texas. It's just that front is not going to make it to us. Now, along that front, there will, however, be a few showers and storms that develop. It's our best rain chance in a while, Thursday and Friday, but the rain chances are only 30%. So we're not going to be seeing a washout. We're not going to even be really seeing any kind of drought denting rainfall Thursday and Friday, but it could cause a little bit of a headache for some of the trick-or-treaters, but for the most part, it should be okay. So here's what you can expect for your Halloween. Warm, no jackets are needed. It's not going to be cold. In fact, around trick-or-treating, upper 70s, near 80 degrees. The one wild card is you may run into a few light rain showers. So we'll keep you posted on that, able to give you an hour-by-hour forecast for trick-or-treating as we get closer to Thursday. But take a look at those temperatures. They come down with highs in the low 80s. So an improvement in our forecast for sure. And then beyond that, there are hints that we could see a real deal cold front the first full week of November. Of course, we will keep you posted, and we just got the pollen count in. So coming up in about 15 minutes, I'm going to have that for you.
Awesome. Good to hear, Sarah. I'm going to be sneezing for the rest of the week, probably.
Oh, hopefully it's not because of allergies. I'll show you that pollen count coming up.
Fingers crossed. Sounds good. Thanks so much, Sarah. Time now, 8:17. Still nice 65 degrees outside in San Antonio. And it's coming up to be one of the biggest nights for ladies in the television and film industry. And it's happening right here in the Alamo City. SA Live's Jada Pickett will give us a preview of the Celestial Awards coming up next. It's one of the biggest nights for ladies in the television and film industry, and it's happening this November in San Antonio. SA Live's Jada Pickett chats with the organizers and honorees of the Celestial Awards and finds out what we can expect on the big night.
San Antonio is stepping into the spotlight, and women are leading the way. Last week's Women in Film and Television San Antonio honoree announcement party was a celebration of both the city and the trailblazing women who are shaping the media and entertainment industry. As the honorees were announced, it became clear that San Antonio is finally getting the recognition it deserves as a creative powerhouse, with women at the forefront paving a bold new path.
We're a global organization that was founded in 1973. So as of this year, we're 51 years old. We just hit the mark of 13,000 members. We're on 6 continents. We have 70 official chapters and partners, of which San Antonio is one.
What are you most excited for about tonight?
Well, I'm excited tonight because we're making announcements of who our honorees are. This is sort of our kickoff party, if you will, and we're just starting up award season as an industry. Our Los Angeles chapter does the big honors awards. Then it comes to us, we do the Celestial Awards. Should we say now who our host of the awards are? You may know him from The Good Wife, from films, from television. Again, a native San Antonian. He's super excited. Nicholas Gonzalez. His name's up on the marquee tonight, so it is marquee official.
Taking place at the historic Majestic Theater, this red carpet affair will be an evening for the history books. It will not only honor incredible women across various industries like culinary arts, music, and film, but also mark the official 1-year anniversary of WIFT SATX in the city. A milestone that symbolizes the rising influence of women in shaping San Antonio's creative landscape.
How does it feel to receive such a well-deserved award?
You know, absolutely. It's a huge honor. It's Irma Nicolas. What can I say? You know, I was blessed and I'm so honored because I knew her back in the years. I'm going to tell you, May 1970. And I knew her so well. I mean, an outstanding, strong, and intelligent and kind. Una mujer preciosa, Irma Nicolas. I mean, this is amazing.
You know what? I am so honored to receive this award, not only because, well, Rosemary is an icon here in San Antonio, but because she's a dear friend and I adore her.
I'm so honored and so excited just to be part of this organization and all of these awards. I mean, look at the roster of people that have been on it. I mean, what do you say?
San Antonio Sports, the longtime head of that organization was Dr. Susan Blackwood. She's my friend. She is my mentor. She's a wonderful, amazing trailblazer in sport for women. And so it made me very happy to be able to call her and say, hey, Susan, we're going to name this award after you. From now until forever, it will be known as the Susan.
The amount of talent that's come out on a national level in support of this is really remarkable, and it's the stage that San Antonio has always been on. We just haven't been shouting it the way that we need to, and so we're finally getting the attention of the city that we are.
We're elevating San Antonio and making sure people know that amazing people come from here, and we're creating amazing people too.
WIFT SATX and the Celestial Awards shows that San Antonio is not only a city on the rise, but one where women are leading the charge. And on November the 12th, we will proudly celebrate these remarkable women, their achievements, and the undeniable impact they're having on our city and beyond. The best is yet to come.
SA Live airs weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSAT 12. Hey, there it is. You can scan that QR code on the bottom of your screen for more arts, culture, food, and fun. Celebrating San Antonio is what they're all about. Time now, 8:25. Still sitting at a cooler 65 degrees outside. Casting your ballot early this election, but you might be wondering how it goes from the voting booth to the tallied at the national level. We're going to show you all that process coming up next. And your Halloween costume may be terrifying the neighborhood, but it can also be terrifying the environment. How to scare responsibly this Halloween season, still ahead. Hey there, good morning. It's 8:30 on your Sunday, October 27th. We're about to start off a new week. How you feeling for it, Sarah?
I'm feeling excited because, you know, Halloween is around the corner.
Yeah.
I actually have off on Thursdays, so
Nice.
I think my husband and I are just going to hand out candy in the neighborhood.
You're not going to go trick-or-treating yourself?
No, shocking, I know, right? But I'm not going to. I'll save that for the kids. But yeah, excited for this week. Excited that there's some change in our weather, at least a little bit. It's been pretty monotonous. But by Halloween, things are going to be changing up for us.
There we go. Rain has been the story of, the week. Just waiting and waiting.
It's been 52 days. There's a small chance, Devin.
Right.
Let's go ahead and
Fingers
take a look at the pollen count, though, because speaking of mundane, this really hasn't changed all that much either. Molds and ragweed remain in the pollen count, but they're both very, very low at the moment. So no major issues there. It is a beautiful view of downtown San Antonio here. gorgeous, clear skies, but it is already a muggy start to the day. It's 65 in San Antonio, 64 in New Braunfels, a little less humidity in the hill country and out west toward Del Rio, but generally a warm start to the day, a muggy start to the day. A lot of people are going to be enjoying some time outdoors this weekend, last weekend of pumpkin patches. It's the last weekend of Muertos Fest, last day of Muertos Fest rather, and temperatures are going to be climbing pretty quickly. We're going to be near 90 degrees this afternoon in San Antonio. That will be very close to a record. Here's the rain that we were talking about. There's a chance on Thursday and Friday on Halloween. There's a 30% chance for a few showers and storms. I'm going to be walking you through those details, telling you what you can expect as the kids go trick-or-treating later this week, coming up in just a bit. Devin.
Sarah, thanks. Night one of the Muertos Fest saw thousands converge on Hemisphere Park downtown. Now, more than 80 altars are scattered all over Hemisphere for families, loved ones, and their strangers to pay respects to friends, family members, and even pets who have passed. Now, I was actually out there yesterday morning, and let me tell you, it's truly a one-of-a-kind experience. You can really feel the passion and the care that goes into something like this. It's really special. We're taking a live look right now out there. If you missed last night's festivities, don't worry, you still have today to take in the beauty of the altars and remember our dearly departed loved ones. On the agenda today are some more musical performances, not to mention an arts and crafts workshop for the kiddos. The music and events are going to get started at noon today, and if you can't go, don't worry, we're going to have you covered. We're airing a special broadcast of the event on this upcoming Wednesday on all of our KSAT platforms. Coming up, we are just 9 days away from the presidential election, and while millions of Americans have already voted early, both frontrunners are making a last-ditch effort to reach undecided voters. Here's ABC's Mary Alice Parks with the latest.
Overnight, Michelle Obama on the campaign trail for the first time alongside Vice President Kamala Harris, arguing too many people are giving former President Donald Trump a pass.
I hope that you'll forgive me if I'm a little angry that we are indifferent to his erratic behavior, his obvious mental decline, his history as a convicted felon.
But it was her powerful turn to the fight over reproductive rights that set her speech apart. The former First Lady laying bare real-life consequences of the strict new anti-abortion laws put in place since the fall of Roe v. Wade. Talking about women's health in detail. Doctors unsure if they can treat miscarriages, that clinics that provide cancer screenings will close, or that there will be fewer OBGYNs. She also directed her remarks to men, saying a vote for Trump was a vote against women's health.
If we don't get this election right, your wife, your daughter, your mother, we as women will become collateral damage to your rage.
Harris, too, zeroing in on another issue that affects women deeply in the country, caring for seniors and the elderly. Talking about one of her campaign proposals to have Medicare cover the cost of home health care.
It's about their dignity. But we have a lot of people right now living in what we call the sandwich generation, who are taking care of your kids while you're taking care of your parents.
With early voting kicking off in the state this weekend, the former president also in Michigan.
We have a chance, but Michigan, we win the whole deal.
Inviting local Arab and Muslim leaders who've endorsed him on stage.
Because he promises peace.
Trump has promised, if elected, to reinstate the so-called Muslim ban to keep Muslims from entering the country. During his first term, he also cut off U.S. aid to Palestine. But he predicted Harris would lose Arab American votes over the war in Gaza.
She would get us into World War III because she's too grossly incompetent to do anything about it.
He capped his day campaigning at Penn State University, zeroing in on students in the crowd and transgender athletes.
Our country really has gone bad. It's gone bad. It's so sad. When you look at the things we're doing, that we even have to say, like, men playing in women's sports, I don't think so.
Early voting in Bexar County is on track for record turnout as folks are making their voices heard on everything from local to national elections. But the process by which a ballot is cast, certified, and then counted is a long one with a lot of important steps. So what happens after you cast that ballot? Well, according to Bexar County Elections Administrator Jackie Callanan, she says the first thing that happens is a machine snaps a picture of both sides of your completed ballot and then drops it into a sealed ballot box. The information from those pictures is stored on a pair of USB drives. From there, it's a long journey.
Officials at the end of early voting break the seals, bring those into us in a sealed container. Chain of custody we follow to the letter.
Now those newly sealed USBs are driven to the Bexar County Elections Office where they have to be signed in, passed on to Election Administrator Jackie Callanan, who you just saw, and then puts them away in the Elections Office's vault. Now once early voting ends,
we will have the Central Counting Station personnel there, and we will start entering those jump drives into our electionware, where it goes and it tabulates them all. But again, we can't push the button. We cannot do that until after the polls are closed on Election Day.
Callanan says there are several security measures along the way the county takes to ensure ballots aren't tampered with, including poll watchers and representatives from each party. She also adds that so many people voting early this year, make sure to pack your patience because there's likely going to be a line. Now, if you're planning on voting early ahead of the November 5th election, here's some important information you'll need to know before you go to the polls. Bexar County registered voters, they can cast their ballots at any polling place in the county. However, those hours vary by day, so polling places are going to be open today from noon to 6. The rest of this week, the polls are going to be open from 8 in the morning to 8 in the evening. And the last day to vote early is this upcoming Friday, November 1st. Now, after that, the next chance you'll have to vote is going to be on the actual election day, November 5th. We add stories every day to KSAT's Vote 2024 webpage. You can go there to get voting resources like sample ballots and polling locations. To stay in the loop, there it is right there. You can scan that QR code on your screen. In your morning headlines, more Americans are feeling better about the economy lately, likely thanks to some lower interest rates. The University of Michigan's latest consumer survey showed attitudes towards the economy improved in October for the third month in a row, reaching its highest level since April. The Federal Reserve last month cut interest rates for the first time in more than 4 years by a bold half point. Lower borrowing costs make it cheaper for American shoppers to buy things like cars and furniture, which usually that gets put on the credit card. Meanwhile, budget airliner Spirit Airlines has announced a new plan to sell some older planes and cut jobs. The airline says it plans to sell 23 of its older Airbus aircraft starting off this month and also plans to cut about $80 million in annual costs by, quote, a reduction in the workforce. Those job cuts would be dependent on the airline's expected flight volume for the next year. It's not immediately clear just how many employees would be impacted by this. And country music star Jelly Roll said he was on an important mission Saturday. He held up a private concert for students, parents, and teachers from Appalachia High School in Winder, Georgia, to provide comfort to those affected by last month's mass school shooting. The gunfire killed 2 teachers and 2 students. 9 other people were wounded. Jelly Roll is the second celebrity to publicly support the school. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson met with the school's football team earlier this month. Time now coming up 8:38, 65 degrees outside. Still pretty cool ahead of some of those hotter temperatures this afternoon. While your Halloween costume may be scaring your friends and family, you probably don't want it scaring the climate. Coming up, we'll tell you how to avoid some wasteful costume habits. And if you're taking the kids trick-or-treating, you'll want to keep them safe as they haunt their neighborhood. Some spooky Halloween tips for your safe night coming up next. There it is, shaping up to be a pretty good day in San Antonio. I don't know about y'all, but I think I got a good feeling about this Sunday. No matter what you're doing outside today, with the family, with some friends, make sure you stick with us on GMSA. We're going to keep you updated on everything you need to know for your week ahead.
Good morning. There are 9 days left in the 2024 campaign, but for most of America, Election Day is already here. Some 40 million Americans have already voted. And while our new ABC News Ipsos poll out this morning finds Vice President Kamala Harris regaining a slight lead nationally, Trump has an ever so slight advantage in several of the battleground states that will determine who actually wins. All of those well within the margin of error. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham joins me here in the studio to make the case for former President Trump. And you'll also hear from billionaire entrepreneur Mark Cuban, who's been hitting the trail for Kamala Harris. Also in the show, you'll meet the independent candidate from Nebraska who is shaking up the battle to control the Senate. He says he's running to break what he calls the two-party doom loop, and he has a real chance of winning. All that and more coming up on This Week.
That means don't go anywhere alone. Always have a buddy there with you, right? But then, too, for parents, just keep a close eye on them because you never know. In the blink of an eye, they can kind of wander off and be missing.
It might sound simple, but we always want to remind parents to stay safe on Halloween. That was Rico Lane with Endeavors. Gave KSAT a breakdown of some Halloween safety tips, keeping up with your kids on their trick-or-treat route. Make sure to use the buddy system and check in their candy. Those are 3 simple ways to ensure a happy Halloween for everyone involved. All right, now speaking of Halloween, let's talk about some of those costumes and what consumer experts have found are the most popular ones this year. Topping the list, Ghostbusters and Beetlejuice are pretty huge hits with demand way up over last year. For some of those adults big into the comic book scene, Deadpool and Wolverine are top picks, and Despicable Me is trending for all ages. Kids are loving Inside Out and Descendants characters. And one of the big surprises, that viral meme, the baby hippo costume, Moo Dang. Some pretty interesting stuff there.
And we're breaking news right now. Devin is going to dress up as Moo Dang for Halloween.
You heard it here first. It's a KSAT exclusive. I'll be on the air. No, not at all. Well, while the Halloween is all about thrills and chills, wasteful one-and-done costumes can have downright scary impacts on the planet.
ABC's climate chief correspondent Ginger Z has some tips on how to be the hit of the Halloween party without much waste. It's cool. Check it out.
Halloween is known for its haunts and horrors,
Sorry, was that
but
too slow
not
for you?
all scares come from things that go bump in the night. Ready-made plastic pouched costumes from your local and online Halloween stores often only get worn once, and they can help create a terrifying pile of waste, especially when you consider how many clothes we're already buying. It's a problem I've been reporting on for years, including last Earth Week.
The bottom line is there is too much clothing in the world. As of 1991, the average American bought about 40 garments a year. But as of 2022, we bought nearly 70 pieces of clothing each year, nearly doubling.
Halloween is a horror show when it comes to adding waste to the landfills, but now it doesn't have to be.
There are so many great tools online that can help you shop secondhand and make it super easy. For example, my son wants to be the main character from Ready Player One. I go to ThreadUp and they have an image search. I can upload a file of that character. It searches for all of the outfit components on a secondhand website. Now, my younger son wants to be a ninja, so I just search it like I normally would, and then I click on one of the costumes, and the widget Benny that I downloaded will bring up all the secondhand options.
You're not going to reuse a really cheap plastic thing, but if you go out and you want to be Elle Woods from Legally Blonde, you can type, hot pink fur jacket into checkbenny.com. We'll show you a bunch of options, and those are things that, because they're higher quality, you're more likely to want to wear again or integrate into your wardrobe in some other way.
If you have time to haunt the racks at your local thrift store, you might find everything you need to pull together your perfect costume, or you might even be inspired with a new idea. Either way, you can make a higher quality costume from pieces that you'll be able to use long after the Halloween sugar rush wears off.
We've heard from someone a little bit ago that her and her partner are doing Taylor and Travis, and you go on, you're like, okay, I don't want to spend $200 on a Travis Kelce NFL jersey. There's actually hundreds of those available on secondhand sites right now for way discounted. And so why not get the real thing at a lower price?
With this Climate Minute, I'm Ginger Z.
Thrifty is nifty.
That's really cool. I would always reuse my costume. I would go as Tom Cruise, Top Gun. I would just have the aviators and a fighter pilot jacket. But this seems like a pretty good other option.
It does. Do you have a favorite costume of yours from when you were a kid?
Ooh,
that you remember?
That's a great question. I did have one of those reflective mirror masks where you can't see your face, but you can see through.
Oh, how cool.
I always thought it was fun,
That's
just to see,
awesome.
when you go trick-or-treating, they see their face and your face. I thought it was fun.
We were pretty thrifty growing up, and I remember this alien costume that my dad made for us, with us, out of like styrofoam cups that were our helmets, and remember, and you know those push-up lights or whatever? Those were our belts.
Wow.
And so me and my sister were aliens, and I just remember that. But I think probably part of it was that I got to do that with my dad.
You know, it's the special memories behind everything. That's really what you remember.
It's true. It's true. Not a special memory is how hot this October has been and how bland the weather has been over the last few days. Today, we're going to see a continuation of that weather pattern, but don't worry. Things are going to change in the week ahead. It is 65 degrees right now in San Antonio, though. It's 59 in Kerrville, 59 in Fredericksburg. You can see out to the west, it's 66 in Del Rio. Good morning, Laredo. It's 72 degrees. And as we look at your KSAT 12-hour forecast, we're going to quickly warm. By noon, we'll be at 81 degrees. It's going to be mostly sunny this afternoon. Yesterday, we hit 90. Today, we're going to hit 90 degrees. We'll have southeast winds at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And it's going to be a mild evening. We'll still be in the 80s by 8, 9 o'clock tonight. Here's a look at your neighborhood highs. 89 in Canyon Lake, 91, though, in New Braunfels, Pleasanton, Floresville, 91 in Nixon, Smiley, 90 in Poteet, 91 in Uvalde, 88 in Tarpley, and 86 in Lost Maples. Over the next several days, you can see that temperatures are actually going to come down a little bit. They're still going to be above average. We're still going to see high temperatures above the average in the upper 70s. But by Thursday, Halloween, Friday, and Saturday, you can see that temperatures come down. Our highs are going to be in the low to mid 80s. Now, a reason for that is that there's going to be a cold front sweeping across the nation. Right now, it's quiet across the nation with the exception of the Pacific Northwest. You can see we've got some rain for Seattle, for Portland, swirling motion of a low pressure system right there. That's where that cool front is that's going to be moving across the nation. Now, I hate to burst your bubble, but this cold front is not really going to make it to San Antonio. It's going to try to, but the colder air is going to stay to our north. Take a look at the futurecast temperatures. By Tuesday afternoon, still going to be hot across San Antonio and a good portion of Texas. In fact, it'll be 80 in Chicago on Tuesday, which is very warm for this time of year, nearer to records. And then by Wednesday evening into Thursday, that front will be moving across Texas, but unfortunately, it's going to stall out to the north of San Antonio by the time the kids go trick-or-treating on Thursday. So areas in North Texas are going to enjoy some cooler weather, but here in San Antonio, we're still going to be warm, and there's the potential for a few spotty showers as well. You can see that on the futurecast. We'll call it a 30% on Thursday and Friday, our best rain chance in a while, even though it does come on the holiday. And so what you need to know for Halloween is it is going to be warm, no cold weather. Temperatures will be in the upper 70s and near 80 degrees around time of trick-or-treating, and there is a wild card of a few light rain showers possible. So we'll keep you posted on that. As we take a look at high temperatures over the next few days, we're going to be looking at them coming down into the low 80s by Friday and Saturday. So a nice and welcome change in our forecast.
Sarah, thanks. We have an update to that deadly shooting that happened around 3 this morning on the Southside. San Antonio police say a couple of people were hanging out on the parking lot on 31115 Mission Road. That's near Roosevelt Avenue when the victim was involved in a fight with another man. That's when police say the suspect pulled out a gun and shot and killed the victim. That suspect told police he fired in self-defense, claiming that the man was threatening to shoot people and trying to run people over with his car. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Charges may be pending against the suspect. This investigation is still ongoing.
All right, counting down the days, holidays, 5 days to Halloween, 8 days to the time change, 10 days to Election Day, Thanksgiving 33 days away, and Christmas only 60 days away. Molds and ragweed are low in the pollen count, and we're monitoring rain chances on Halloween. Temperatures come down, which is pretty nice. Devin, it's been so great to have you here with us this morning.
Thanks for sticking with us on GMSA, everyone. We'll see you soon.